We are the mages, are helping to balance the land and the creatures within it. We upgrade our powers, recruit the creatures in Primordial.
And today we'll be teaching you how to play Primordial Creatures of Pandemonium, game designed by Kyle Valors and published by Imposter Games.
And hello everyone, it's Stella.
And Taryn here from Meeple University.
Alright, let's get to the classroom.
In Primordial, players are mages in the war-stricken land of Cathyra, a land stricken with the spread of dangerous entropic energy. The creatures of the land are in danger, and now players will move or jump around the land collecting energies, which they can use to tame the beasts in search of honour. Whoever can assemble the highest scoring sanctuary of creatures, learn the best lessons, and manage the risks and rewards of entropic energy will win the game. To set up, first create the map. You'll use 5 tiles in a 2-player game, 9 in a 3-player game, and 13 in a 4-player game, setting them up in one of these balanced configurations or randomizing if you wish. We'll use the 3-player setup in this video. Count out the required number of energy cubes in each colour. This will be 5 per player in each of the 4 basic energy colours, 5 per player in the white astral colour, and 10 per player in the black entropic colour. Return all others to the box. You'll then place the black and white energies on their respective spread cards, and all basic energy in the blind bag. Then fill the map with energy, 1 astral and 1 entropic in the central tile, and 3 random energy from the blind bag for the rest. Set up the 3 decks of cards, skills, common creatures, and uncommon creatures. For the skills, simply shuffle into a face-down stack. For the uncommon creatures, shuffle into a face-down stack, and then deal 6 cards face-up into a row. Flip the common creatures face-up and sort them into 4 stacks, 1 for each type of creature. Each stack should be in a specific order, with number 1 on top and number 5 on the bottom. The 10 top face-up cards represent the market of available creatures at any given time. Each player takes a player board and a colour. You'll have a mage piece which begins off your board. And you'll have 4 lesson books. Start by placing each on the left-hand space of its matching row. Then each player chooses 1 book to advance 2 spaces and another to advance 1 space. Gain the benefits printed under the positions of your books after you've finished this. And this will always be 2 black energy, taken from the entropic spread card, 1 skill card, drawn to hand from the top of the deck, and an energy of a specific colour, which you take by looking through and selecting from the blind bag. Choose a first player, and then in clockwise turn order, players set their starting score values to 0, 1, 2, or 3 honour points. Keep the 2 phase shift markers nearby. You'll need these in the midpoint of the game, and you're now ready to play. Primordial is played in turns, starting from the first player and going clockwise around the table. On your turn, you'll take actions. You may take as many actions as you wish and can afford to take, and you may take them in any order. There are some actions you may only take at most once per turn, and there are others you may take any number of times. You begin with the actions printed on the left-hand side of your board. You can unlock more on lesson tracks or creatures as the game goes on. Once you've finished taking actions, there'll be a brief clean-up phase before play passes to the next player. The gaining and spending of energy is a significant part of play. There are 6 colours of energy, the 4 basic energies, blue, purple, red and green, and the white astral energy and black entropic energy. Unless otherwise stated, if you're collecting white or black energy, collect it from its matching spread card. When drawing random energy, you'll take it from the blind bag without looking, and if you ever need to gain a specific colour of basic energy, you'll look through the blind bag for the cube you need. Whenever you spend energy, you add it to the blind bag, whether it's coloured, black or white. and this means that as the game goes on, you may be getting black or white energy from random draws from the bag. Later in the game, when the astral spread card is empty, you'll flip it over, and this will trigger an immediate effect. While when the entropic spread card is empty, and this will trigger the countdown till the end of the game. From this point forward, if you do ever need to take black or white energy, you'll look in the blind bag to take the one you need. If you ever gain an energy which is not present either on a card or in the blind bag, then you may take it from any hex on the map. Anytime you're spending basic energy, you can always spend a white energy as if it were any basic energy, or may spend 3 black energy as a basic energy. There are also some effects which require you to spend white or black energy specifically, and those cannot be substituted. You can't hoard energy indefinitely, and at the end of each turn, you must discard down to 5 non-black energy and any amount of black energy. So, understanding that, let's have a look at the game's actions. The first action is Traverse. This is a once per turn action, and it involves moving on the map. On your very first turn, you'll simply place your mage onto a hex containing no other mage, and then collect all the energy present on that tile. On all subsequent turns, you'll either move to an empty adjacent hex, or you'll jump over any number of mages in a straight line to the next empty adjacent hex. Other than on your first turn, where it's mandatory to do your initial placement, you don't have to traverse each turn, although it's usually beneficial as this is a key way of gaining energy. If you traverse, you must move. You're not allowed to stay where you are and collect the energy on your current tile. Study and meditate are the main ways of upgrading your books on the lesson tracks. Each of these is a once per turn action. For study, spend 1 energy and then advance your book 1 step on the matching track, while for meditate, the cost is 2 matching energy. In each case, you immediately gain the newly covered benefit, although note that some benefits require a cost which you must be able to pay at that time, otherwise you forfeit it. As you advance on these tracks, you'll unlock end of game points, and the last step on each track gives you a new once per turn ability which you'll be able to use from that point onwards. As an unlimited action, you may tame a creature. Choose which of the available face-up creatures you wish to tame. Check that your mage is on an appropriately coloured hex. If you're not on the right coloured hex, you can't gain that creature. The central white hex is wild. Pay the creature's energy cost, printed here. Immediately gain the honour points, printed here. Add the card to one of the 5 slots of your sanctuary. This can be a filled slot or an empty slot. If it's an empty slot, immediately resolve the action that you cover, while if it's a filled slot, then nothing happens. You'll overlap cards in the same slot so that you can still see these circular tags in the top right corners. Your new creature will give you one of 3 types of ability: an immediate ability, which you resolve now or forfeit, a once per turn ability, which you may use once every turn from this point forward, or an end of game ability, which will give you a way of scoring points at game's end. If you ever cover up a once per turn or end of game effect, it is no longer available. Next, take a black energy from the spread card and add it to the general part of your hex. And finally, if you tamed an uncommon creature, then replenish its position in the market. If you took a common creature, then you've made the next card of that stack available for future actions. Through many actions, you'll collect a hand of skill cards, and as a no-limit action, you can play a skill card from your hand. Simply play it to its discard pile and resolve its immediate effect. There are 8 different skill cards, most of which give you a different way of gaining or exchanging energies. One lets you re-resolve a covered lesson bonus, and one lets you move a white energy from any hex to an adjacent one, which can be a convenient way to increase your haul when you do a future traverse. You can also use skill cards for the transform action, discarding any 2 cards for 1 honour and a black energy. You will have to discard down to 3 skill cards at the end of each turn, so if you've got nothing better to spend them on, transforming is a useful action to take. The final standard no-limit action is Transmute, allowing you to spend any 3 basic energy to gain 1 white. At the end of your turn, you'll go through the following steps in this order. Firstly, if you did not take the Tame creature action on this turn, then you gain 1 white energy. Then discard down to your energy limit, which is 5 non-black energy and any amount of black, and discard down to 3 skill cards. Finally, you'll replenish the landscape. For this, it's important to know how energy moves around the board, because as you'll have seen when we placed these black cubes down, energy can be either on the printed squares or in the general part of hex. During your turn, anytime you take a cube or move a cube off a tile, it can come from either one of the squares or the general tile, but anytime you add a cube to a tile, including moving it there, it goes to the general area. So if this red energy moved here, it would move like so. When the time comes to replenish landscapes, first slide all cubes which are on these squares as far to the left as they can go. Then on any hex which shows this star visible, refill all the empty spaces randomly from the blind bag. If the star is not visible, then leave the 3rd space empty. The exception to this is the central tile. This is always refilled so that there is 1 white energy and 1 black energy in these squares. When the final cube is taken from the Astral Spread card, flip the card over. All players immediately get to choose one of these 3 benefits to resolve. Keep an eye on this. The bottom action, exchanging 1 cube for 3 points, is a very good return on points. So you may want to plan on being ready to take advantage. When the final cube is taken from Entropic Spread, then you start the countdown to the end of the game. Place the round counter marker on the round corresponding to your player count and give the current player the phase shift marker token. Each time the player with this token starts their turn from that point forward, move this marker 1 step down, and when that marker would move from 1 to 0, the game is over. Once this is triggered, the game is entered what's called the Purify phase. Until now, players have been using and collecting large amounts of the dangerous entropic energy, and now it's time for players to purify their energy pools of that energy. You'll continue playing as normal with the following changes. Firstly, any time you pay entropic energy, you do not add it to the blind bag. Instead, you place it into your column on the phase shift board. This will collect over the last few rounds, and there'll be bonus victory points for whoever spends the most. Secondly, entropic energy is no longer added to the landscape when you take the Tame action. Finally, if you are to gain entropic energy and there's none left in either the bag or on the board, then you may steal it from any other player's column on this track. Once the round tracker leaves the board, the game is over. The player with the most black cubes on the board gains 9 points, second most gains 6, third most gains 4, and fourth most gains 3. If tied, both players get the higher number of points. Score endgame objectives on any of your top-facing tamed creatures. Gain 6 points for each lesson book which has reached the end of its track, and 3 points for each which has reached one of these 3 columns. Gain 1 point for each leftover white energy, and lose 1 point for each black energy in your pool which you've been unable to spend. The player with the highest score wins, and if tied, victory goes to whoever has the most 6-point lesson tracks, then whoever has the most total energy, including black, then most leftover skill cards. If still tied, victory is shared. And that's how to play Primordial Creatures of Pandemonium. We are using a prototype copy of the game, so the rules and components may not be final, and do check out the project page for the game. We'll put a link to that in the description below.
And hey, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know and share this video if you enjoyed, and have a great day. See you next time.